Hello friends, in this video I'm gonna show you how you can set up Void Linux. I will try to set it up following all the available methods, which I believe they are 3. So follow along. First we go to the website and take the ISO. I'm not gonna talk about making the bootable media. I believe that you know how to do it yourself. It's out of the scope of this video. Alright, here you need to know what is the architecture you're gonna use. For example, for ARM, we talk here about something like Raspberry Pi and equivalents. i686 is almost x86, but something newer, I'm not sure, it's for Intel i686 or newer, and x86_64 is the 64-bit version for x86. You can choose something between Muscle and glibc. Muscle is more minimalistic. The base and XFCE. The base is command line only. XFCE has the desktop environment, Live 1, rootfs, tarball, and live image. Live image you can open, boot into it, whether it's command line only or XFCE with the desktop environment XFCE. For the rootfs tarball you cannot boot into it, and we will use it in one of the methods of the installation. So I will go with XFCE, glibc. You can go with Muscle. There is no big difference that you're gonna see yourself. There is no remarkable difference for you. You can choose whichever. I will simply go with this. So we can click on it and let it download. Save. And it's gonna download. We come back once the download is over. My download is done. Remember that you can take the one with the desktop environment or without it. This is not the desktop environment of Void Linux. This is just a VNC connection to my server, and here is the ISO. I still didn't start the installation, so whether you take the one with the desktop environment or without it, it's still fine. Make sure that it's the live ISO and choose whichever you want, something in between Muscle, libc, and glibc. You can read about them and know more and more which one is better for you. What I'm gonna do now, you can do it if you want to install Void Linux on a virtual machine. Otherwise, it's almost similar with plugging in your bootable media and starting your computer to the boot menu. However, make sure that the boot menu is configured to select your bootable media before your hard drive. So I'm gonna call this Void Linux 1. Any name is fine, there is nothing wrong with whichever name you choose. So in my desktop, this is it. This selection you select it by making the bootable media the first, whether it's a USB or a DVD. I don't know if you still use DVD or not. Otherwise it's a USB. Next, I'm gonna choose here next. I'm gonna make it 2 GB with 2 CPUs, or let me make it 4, why not. Next, finish. Alright, so I'm gonna start this. Here, when you start your computer, this is the equivalent of your computer. You should press a key like I did now, which should take you to the boot menu. In my case it's the CD-ROM, so I should select C. Here I select the first one, enter. Okay, so I'm booted into my XFCE live Void Linux. Let's pull out the terminal. We should become root, and then we should go with fdisk. Let's check what we have exactly. It's /dev/sda, so fdisk /dev/sda. Let's check if this thing, I don't remember very well, I installed void once like this. Okay, you select here your keyboard. I need only the default one. Network. Okay, source, select here local. Okay, XBPS mirrors. Okay, I'm gonna go with Asia, and then this one. Yes, select the closest one to you. Okay, host name, let's call it void. Okay, local, we need to select, I'm gonna select the English one. Select whichever you like. I'm gonna go with English USA. Okay, time zone, here you select whichever you want. This one. Root password, you put your root password here. Okay, repeat it, make sure it's the same, of course. User account, I'm okay with that. I will keep it void for the name and the username already. Let's put the password, it can be the same as your root password. Here again, select OK. Here you don't need to change much unless you know what you're doing. Sometimes later when you install a piece of software, you will need to add your user to a new group. These are the groups that you need to add, that are default for you, and you choose if you want to add your user to them or not. Sometimes if you add a user to a specific group, it can be with undesired consequences. Like for example, I don't think it's going to be good to be added to sys. If you want to add, press space if you want to add to a new group. Otherwise, press space again to remove, and click OK or select OK. The bootloader, let's put it here. OK. Okay, partition. Here, as I said, I wasn't sure if I need to run fdisk or cfdisk at the beginning before the installation or not. Here we see that we can skip that option at the beginning, and it's gonna give us later such option. I'm gonna go with cfdisk. Okay, here. If your system is new, select GPT. If it's old, select DOS. I'm gonna go with DOS. I'm gonna go new. Let me make the boot partition. This is optional. You can simply go with one partition for everything, but some people, and I'm talking here about specialists and experts, recommend having different partitions. So I will go with 400 megabytes for my boot partition, primary, and then here new. I'm gonna make it 16 gigabytes. I will assume that you're gonna follow me in these steps, but you should make it bigger than this. Make it like 80 gigabytes. Since I made or I chose only 32 gigabytes for the virtual hard drive for this installation, I only took 16 gigabytes for the root file system. I'm gonna put my root file system here, my boot partition here, and here we're gonna make our home partition. New, keep it the way it is, primary, and then we need to write yes, and then quit. Let's check the partitions. Okay, file systems. If I have executed cfdisk correctly and wrote to the disk, I guess I forgot about the prompt. I had to write, I guess, or type yes fully. I need to do it again. The blue thing wasn't clear enough for me, and it says that the changes have been done. Quit. File system. Yes. So for this one, we should if you are using MBR or DOS, you go with ext2 for the boot partition, and if you are using GPT or UEFI, you should select VFAT for your boot partition. Since I am using MBR, I will go with ext2. Okay, here the mount point, since it's boot, it's gonna be /boot. Yes. Okay, let's clarify something. You can have more partitions than this. You can have a partition for your /var, you can have another partition also for your /usr, you can have a partition for your /opt, you can have a partition for your /srv, etc. But this is the basic thing you can have. So here I'm gonna select, this is for this one. The most recommended ones are Btrfs, this one, or extended for this one, or XFS. I will go with extended for. Here it's /yes, and then this one I'm gonna make it extended for also, and it's gonna be home. Okay, yes, and then done, and let's execute the installation now. Okay, yes, now we should reboot the system. It should take us to the newly installed system. We can take out boot first HT found by BIOS. This is because I didn't take out the bootable media. I will do it like this for you. You can just unplug the media or take out the CD. Okay, I guess I should force reset. Yes, and our Void Linux installation is working, as you can see. Yes. For the next installation method, if you don't want to follow the first one, you want to go with the second one, which can be a little harder than the first one. So than the first one, if we can say, simply do the same as the first one. Take your bootable media, plug it in, boot into it, as you're gonna see here. It's gonna be very similar to the first one. Alright, I thought of giving something extra in this video, which is connecting through SSH to the live Void Linux media, and then executing the commands of the installation from the remote client. You can check your IP address by running the command IPA from your Void Linux live media. Doesn't necessarily need to be the one with the desktop environment. In my case, this is my IP address, this one here, and then you go to your client. The username, I believe, is Anon, so it should be SSH Anon at the IP address. Press yes here. I guess the password is Void Linux. Yes, it's correct. It's good to have the manual of Void Linux in front of you whenever you want to execute the second method of installation as well as the third method. The name or the title of the page is installation via chroot, this one. Let's start. Let's switch into root, sudo -i. fdisk would be good, or let's go with cfdisk. I'm gonna select DOS new 500 megabytes for the boot partition. Primary, here we select new, let's make it 20 gigabytes for the root file system. I forgot in the previous method to make a swap partition. Here I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take 4 gigabytes of the disk space and make it a swap partition, and here let's select new partition and the rest would be for it. Okay, let's write yes. Okay, let's exit out of here. Let's clear lsblk. So before we continue, we need to format. So for the boot, which is /dev/sda, for me it can be something else for you. SDA1, it can be something else for you. We should make it vfat if it is MBR. If it isn't MBR and it's GPT, it should be no, it's vfat if it's GPT and extended to if it's MBR, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, please correct me. So here extended to for /dev/sda1. Okay, next one. This is there is no tab option. So mkfs ext for /dev/sda2. This is our root file system, and then should be mkfs.ext for our /dev/sda4. Enter. Okay, let's run lsblk again. We have /dev/sda3, our swap, which should be mkswap /dev/sda3 swap on /dev/sda3. Clear out the screen. lsmnt, nothing. So we mount /dev/sda2 on /mnt. For you it can't be something else. We mount also /dev/sda. Before that, let's make a directory mnt boot. We'll make another one mnt home lsblk. We mount /dev/sda1 mnt boot and mount /dev/sda4 mnt home. In case you are using UEFI, you need to mount the EFI system partition here. Remember that. The next thing is we select the mirror. I guess the command should be xmirror. Okay, globally available. We select this one. Yes. Okay, the next thing is then this one, this. Okay, we make a directory like this, and then we copy the keys. And then we run this one. For the architecture, you can change it if you have something that is not the 64 bits of x86. We run this one. which is the command. As you can see here, it was fast. I simply copied it. We can try to see it again. This one here, and then press Y and enter. Following the second method, our installation is done. I checked my /mnt/boot, which is the boot partition for the newly installed system, and we can see that we have the tools that are needed, as I guess. There is something missing, probably it's the grab, but we can try to reboot the system. Since we were using a very basic shell, you can type bash to go to the more familiar type of shell script. So let's reboot the system. I guess we didn't install grab, so let's try to install it. We need to restart the system, so should you. We are still with the second method. Just to be clear, we're gonna install the bootloader, which sound like it's missing. That's why the system didn't boot. So we should run lsblk and then mount. We still have our partitions, they are set already. We mount our boot partition on /dev/sda1 to mnt. Now let's start with the root first to be able to have our boot mount point like this. Sudo hi bash, and then let's run this command again. Copy and paste. We mount /dev/sda1 to boot, and then grab. Let's see if we have it. Yeah, grab install /dev/sda xroot /dev/mnt bin bash, and then let's try again. Grab install or xbps install uppercase s grab. Yes. Okay. Grab install /dev/sda. I guess if it's EFI, you add some arguments already. I forgot what they are exactly. So for grab, you should, if it's BIOS, you should run it like this, just like me, which I'm gonna run now. If it is not, you should first install the package like this. Should be like this. No, should be grab x86_64 and then -efi. You install this package. I don't need to. And then instead of running grab install /dev/sda, simply you rather install it using this command like this. Okay, until the end you copy it and paste it as root. So I'm gonna run the simple one, the BIOS one I mean, which is simpler in syntax. The next command should probably be grab mk config -o/boot slash grab.cfg if we don't have it. .cfg, enter. Alright, let's exit out of here and then reboot the system. We should unplug the bootable media and we can probably see that our system is working, I guess. Okay, I guess we missed another thing, which is making the user and setting the password for it and for the root user. I will simply boot into the live media and do that. I'm sorry for forgetting it. I booted into the live media again. Let's add the user. We need to chroot first. Xchroot mnt / bin / bash. Enter. And then user add g wheel, and the user is user. Pass wd user. Okay, and then pass wg without a user for the root password. Make sure they're the same. That's it. Let's reboot now. We're supposed to get a fully working system. Okay, user, the password, done. Sudo I, su. Okay, we proceed to the third method. It's almost the same as the second one. For the partitioning, I'm not gonna do any different partitioning, and I'm gonna skip that step. I will simply use the same layout and the same virtual machine and reformat the partitions only for it without needing to make a whole new virtual machine. Okay, I put it into the live media and reformatted all my partitions. I didn't use fdisk since I want to keep the same partition layout. In case you wanna see how I partitioned my system, you can simply go to the minute that I'm gonna show on the screen in order for you to know how to partition your system. It's a suggestion for me. You can partition it the way you like, as I said. So here is the reformatting of the partitions, almost the same as you've seen there in the second method. Now let's bring back the wiki. We need to download the root fs tarball. It's something similar to Gentoo installation tarballs. Let's go to voidlinux.org, I guess. Yes, and then we download the root fs. While it's downloading the root file system, I believe we need to mount our partitions. We start with the root partition, mount /dev. In my case is /dev/sda2. We mount it on mnt, and then /dev/sda1. We don't have the boot mount point, so we make a directory /mnt/boot, then /mnt/home. then we mount the rest /dev/sda4 for home, and then /dev/sda1 for boot. So the root file system tarball is done downloading. Let's run the next command. We need to move or change directory to where our root file system tarball is downloaded, and then we run this command. Needs to be yes. Okay, so no matter what tarball I try to download, I keep facing this error, and it turns out I need to install the package xz, which is probably not installed. xbps install -s xz. Yes. Okay, then we can try again like this. So let's chroot by running this command, and then we're able to run this command. Okay, we run this command to update the system. Yes, we can install grub. Yeah, yes. Before we install, let's not run this command. Let's clarify that you can, if you are using UEFI, the command should be like this, not like this, like this. EFI. Yes, so it has become as you see here. But since I'm using a BIOS system, I'm not gonna go with that one. I'll simply go with the plain grub like this. Yes, and let it install. Okay, the execution of this command is done, installing the base system. Let's keep up. Here it says that we need to remove this package. Let's do it. Yes. And then if you are selecting glibc, you run this command. Otherwise, if it's muscle libc, no need for it. Password, this is what I forgot in the previous method. For the root, let's do the fstab, make one like this. Let's check our fstab. No, let's see. We need to remove the extra lines. No, stop. Okay, so the next thing it says is to change this /dev/something with the blk id. Let's save and exit. We can run blk id. Yes, so this one, we take this one, copy it, we look for the partitions that we have. I'm not gonna do it with all the partitions since I believe it's something optional. As long as you have taken one of these two things, either the partition like /dev/sda or the ID, it's still the same. So let's go back here. Which one did we choose? It was, let's take for /dev/sda3 like this. No, /dev/sda2. Let's go like this. Needs to be without double quote. Save and exit. Clear out. Here it says that we need to add tmp/tmp entry. Let's add it here. And for the swap, it's /dev/sda3 for me, so /dev/sda3, and let's paste this. Yes, so save and exit. Let's run this installation. Remember to run the one that is relevant to your setup. If it's BIOS like me, you should run this command. I have run the installation of Grub and I told you which to choose, so we run this one. Okay, if it is the EFI, you should run this command, but since I'm not using EFI here, I'm not gonna run this command. The installation is supposedly done already, so let's do this step, the final one. Okay, this step is done, so let's reboot. We exit and then reboot. Exit and then reboot. Let's take out the optical media in my case, or let's force the reset of this machine. It's working. Okay, root. Bash. Clear out. Let's check what we do have at COS. Release lsblk. As I said to you, there is no problem with our fstab. It's the way we made it. Okay, I guess that's it for the different methods of the installation of Void Linux. I'm sorry if there is any mistake or any confusion. If you're interested in similar content, please subscribe, like, share and comment, and peace.